Hey everyone, we are back for another exciting season of exciting rehearsals. This week we are all about band in December. Our guest clinician is the Kevin Welborn, who is the assistant band director of the University of Alabama Marching Band. So from holiday parades to college band to this thing called Mummers, we have the news and stories you and your staff will be talking about. We will also find out what made Stephanie say,
It's on my television right now. So if I look over this screen, that's what I'm looking at.
and what made Ashlee say,
There's been 10 Pirates of the Caribbean movies, and they've come out every year. You haven't seen them?
all this and more. So get out on the field, and we will see you back on the sidelines for this week's episode of On a Water Break.
8 off the mat and go.
Welcome to On a Water Break, the podcast where we talk everything marching arts.
Everyone, bring it in. It's time for a water break.
Welcome to another episode of Season 2 of On a Water Break, the podcast where we talk about everything you and your friends are talking about at rehearsal on a water break. I'm Jackie Brown. Well, it is mid-December, and while some of us are fully into winter guard and winter percussion, some people are still doing marching band, or at least a marching band related activity. Well, we have some great guests and hosts to talk about it this week, so let's see who's on the sideline. Hey, Steven!
What's up, Jackie? How you doing?
So much better than yesterday. Let's just put it that way.
Jackie was dying yesterday.
I am pretty sure I was, and it literally came out of nowhere. So I am so glad to be back at it today, though. So, Ashlee.
Hey, it's been a while since I've been on, so I'm so excited to be back.
Glad to have you back. And Stephanie Click.
Hello, how are you? Happy
Good.
holidays. Happy December.
You too. I feel like I haven't seen you on here in forever either.
I know. I did an episode right after Grand Nationals, Cindy and I, and then went full into like just getting through the semester mode. And luckily tomorrow is my last day of school.
Oh, yay. Mine was today. So yay. Granted, I still have
lucky.
to put in grades and stuff. So I don't really consider that the end, but I'm technically done. Before we get to our guest host, Steven, why don't you introduce our new hosting team member?
Yes, Jackie, I'm very excited about this. This was a big surprise to me this week to get the news. Our new host, his name is Woody, or Bill Woodward. But Woody, why don't you introduce yourself? How you doing, man?
Oh, I'm doing okay. I was surprised to see you too, Steve.
I know. It's like, wow, this is great. We're going to have Woody on the calls. I'm super excited about this. But Woody, on our show, what we always do, whether we're going to talk to someone for 2 minutes or we're going to talk to them, every week. The first time we meet someone, we do their 32 count life story, which will give you about 30 seconds to catch the whole audience up to speed on your whole life. Can you do that for us?
I can give it a shot. Right.
Cool. You're going to get 8 and in from the mat.
Hello, everyone. I'm Bill Woodward. I'm from Philadelphia. I now reside in the state of New Jersey. I moved here for love. Let's see here. I've been a musician pretty much my whole entire life. I discovered drum corps in middle school. My middle school teacher gave it to us. And then I've been in it ever since.
Yeah, there you go. There was actually a little more. You had one more bar. You could have. It's a little.
I'll reset.
No, we're gonna have plenty more opportunities to learn what you've been up to. It's awesome to have you on this show, man. You've done a lot of different band around right in my neck of the woods, same area up here in Philly, and I myself might even find myself moving to New Jersey for love. Seems to be that's the way it goes.
Other reason to move here.
Exactly, I agree. But awesome. Great to have you on the show, man.
I mentioned earlier that this whole mummers thing is happening. And granted, we did like 2 episodes, I think, last year, just about the mummers and what it is. And
the mummery.
Yes,
is that the
exactly.
plural form?
The mummery of it all.
Do you guys want to kind of like dive into like a little bit of an explanation? I am not from the area, so
it's a lot to take in.
It's an excuse to drink beer and play the banjo on the street in the cold.
Yeah, it's
that basically sums it up.
That is what it is. And it's one of a kind. I've never seen it anywhere but here. For those that don't know, if I'll give you the crash course in mumming, essentially it's much like a regular band show, except it is the most outlandish and eccentric costumes you could imagine. And you're probably still not like envisioning something outlandish enough. You're like zooted up in like a sumo suit almost, a little more angular than a real sumo suit, but all these different tassels, sequins, lots of different vibrant colors. Then we have a band. It's all composed of a lot of different wind instruments, as well as a bunch of different banjo and other string instruments, and then a little bit of percussion too. But altogether, you get this kind of unique sound. It's a mummers string band sound, and they do shows just like we're all kind of familiar with in marching band. But Woody, how would you maybe contrast, or what are some standout differences from mummers to regular band?
I think the first thing I see with the mummers is the uniform, the costume stuff is it is definitely over the top. And the money that's flowing around there, if you teach any of the kind of, the groups that we teach in the marching band, thinking, oh my goodness gracious.
Well, you're right. There is a good bit of money flowing around, but it's because they got a little access to different resources than your high school marching band might have had. Pretty much all of these ensembles have clubhouses, which are bars with big open rooms above that they can rent out. But they have a lot more money than you might expect in a regular marching band, at least to put on their production for the short time period of year they do it. There's only one competition, and it's just one and done, one day on one parade. So they get to put a lot of resources. They invest a lot of time into it as well. There's certainly at the heart of it a little bit of a drinking culture. It would be sugarcoating it to deny it, but
there's no drinking in band.
Jackie, by comparison to the mummers, there is no drinking in band.
They pregame.
Yeah, they pregame rehearsal.
They pregame big time. Just remember, in heaven there is no beer. That's why we drink it here.
That's
That's one of their songs.
They say that on 2 Street. I'm sure they do.
Yeah, they do. I used to play when I was in high school. They would always come and hire us to play drums for the fancies. So.
Oh, okay. Right. So that's a whole other aspect of it too that I wasn't even
thinking that way.
Wasn't even thinking about it. There's all these different. They call them like different brigades, and it's essentially like different types of competing ensembles. And at some level, ensemble becomes a very, very loosely defined term. There's do you know anything about the wench brigades, Woody?
Yes.
Okay, because I only kind of vaguely know, but I feel like it's worth giving them their due as well.
Yes, it's just the different little factions. I guess like we have different parts of the season, different types of seasons. They put it all together in one big parade, and they just have different.
It's a one-stop shop, this parade. There's everything you could imagine goes on in there.
You miss it, right?
Yeah, and it's all televised too. At least I'm pretty sure in the Philly area they have a live stream and it's televised.
Before we
so you get to see all
started
those.
recording, Stephanie was actually talking about getting to watch it all the way from Texas.
Really?
That's right. I can't remember how we first learned about it. My husband is obviously in this activity as well. And we found a TV station in Philly that does a live stream, video live stream. And so we piped it through Apple TV or whatever we had at that point. And it is on our calendar. We watch it every single year without fail. And if the stream goes down, we are panicked and we reset the whole thing. Like we don't want to, from morning through night, we do not leave. It's great. It's really awesome. If you haven't checked it out, anybody listening, you really have to find those TV stations that do the live stream and log on. It is so worth your time.
It's entertaining. Look, to say the least, they put on an entertaining show. It's not usually supposed to be like real heady or anything like that. Like we're out there having a blast. It's a good time. I love
families,
to think
there's like little kids all the way up to like
it's a big
grandmas.
family event. Like
yes,
yeah, huge.
big
Yeah,
time.
You get born into the mummers.
right.
There'll be kids who have been, they're 20 now and their mom and dad have been doing it. That's how they met and they never stopped.
Wow, that's awesome.
And now they do it with their kids. Like, that's not even that uncommon.
What you also don't see on the television is that parade starts about 6 in the morning.
And it's cold.
Oh my gosh.
And it ends, like 7, 8 o'clock that night?
I can't even really remember because we went on earlier in the day and the rest of it was a little bit of a blur.
The other thing about
it had
the
to be
Mummer
somewhere
show
around there, though.
that I love when we're watching the parade part is, it kind of ends always with a big bang. Everybody loves the confetti in Dayton. Well, the Mummers,
lots of confetti.
Let me tell you, they got the confetti. If you're a confetti kind of person, this is your jam right here. But then there's somebody that comes out with a leaf blower and like clears the street.
Yeah,
it is a production. I'm such a fan. We should go watch it live one year.
You should make the trip up. It's different in person for sure.
I bet. That's awesome.
Philly has an energy.
People don't go to parades anymore, or it's kind of sparse on the side. Not the
Mummers.
It is deep. The crowds are deep.
I bet.
Yeah.
I know I keep referring to the blues part of it all, but believe it or not, it is a very large part of what that parade is.
Yeah.
It's the after party for New Year's.
Yes.
Oh,
yeah.
right.
It makes sense when you think of it that way. Yeah. It's the party continuing on into the next day.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah. Okay. That makes more sense. I was like, man, if the Thanksgiving Day parade is not that early and people are not out there like that.
That would be so much more funny. Could you imagine if it was just like the March 5th parade or something? Like the Mummers for no reason. Philly shows up and gets hammered.
Well, just for our listeners who are like interested in watching this, I just got a text from our producer and it says that starting last year, the parade was broadcast on WDPN TV, which is also called MeTV2, or you could stream it on WFMZ if you're wanting to watch it, which I'm like, especially after like the pod episodes that we've done about it and just hearing you guys talk about it, I'm like, I want to see this. I want to see this craziness.
Yep. That's right.
It's craziness for sure. You should check it out. And
to
our listeners, if you haven't checked out our old episodes regarding the Mummers, you should go back. We have 1 or 2 good episodes from around this time, December of 2022. Some good interviews with directors and members that you'd probably enjoy.
All right, it's time for our Gush and Goes.
Great job, everyone. Set your equipment down. Gush and go.
I'm still getting used to the new sounds.
I know these new sounds are I love it so much. Steven, why don't you start us off?
It's the early season at United, and I'm not giving any details. I bet Woody's got the ears open listening for some behind the scenes details, but it's just been cool for me getting to really work with some students they're like itching to get good. You know, like they've really worked their whole career to get up to a world-class ensemble, and I'm excited to have the opportunity to like teach students that are that passionate. So that's what's kind of been cool for me the last week or two.
Ashlee, what do you want to gush about?
I think I'm gonna gush and go on about the fact that my high school is having its first ever indoor program with Color Garden Winds. So that's really exciting. They used to do it through the county, but that kind of like fizzled out after COVID. But yeah, so it's the first time I'm like designing an indoor show. So that's a whole journey in and of itself. So
good luck.
I'm having fun.
Man, that'll be fun.
The kids are great. We're having a good time.
Nice. Congrats.
Thank you.
Stephanie, what do you want to gush about?
So one of my absolute favorite things to do is recruit. I love the whole recruiting process, and I got to visit both of the junior highs that feed into the high school where I teach. I got to visit them during lunches this week and do some recruiting and talk about color guard, and what's more fun than trying to get new kids interested in guard, especially at that young age. And it was so much fun. So much fun.
I love it. Getting the kids first started and getting them excited about it and seeing like, I mean, it opens a world of possibilities for them and for you to have new kids. That's so great.
It is. It's so much fun.
Yeah, and it's nice you guys get started so early too. That's really fortunate.
Yeah, it is. We're very, very lucky. Super supportive, just admin team and band directors and all of that. And it is. It's a perfect storm here. But I know how lucky I am to have that.
So Woody, you've seen kind of how we gush and go on our show. What would you like to gush and go on about today?
It's funny that Stephanie is into the young people. For those who don't know, I am the founding father of United Percussion. Now that the younger guys are taking over, it's very cool to see that all go. But my new passion now is working with programs that need help. There are a lot of programs where at one time the player was the best player in the band. Now they're actually out on the street trying to do the activity, and they don't know enough about it.
Right.
Someone needs to help with that. So I've been working with underprivileged programs a lot more. It's so much fun. And I also have been working with a program in Philadelphia for Settlement Music, which is the biggest music school in the city. And we teach a drum program 2 days a week, an hour a day. So rewarding because these kids off the street, they don't know anything about what you're teaching them, and they end up doing it. Lots of fun. That's my new thing. That is my new crusade.
Yeah, that's awesome, man.
That's a good one. That's a great one.
The music school in Philly is something I'm definitely going to want to hear some more about as time goes on. But it's cool to hear that you're like kind of teaching the teachers a little bit and kind of like spreading out your impact among a wider group of people, because you have a lot of great experience. So it goes a long way.
I judge a lot during the fall, and you listen to people come in and the questions they ask or the things they're upset about is truly because they don't know the activity.
Yep.
They know the surface of it, but they really don't understand it, and you can't fault them. I mean, no one's taking them underneath their wing, and I just feel like that's something I want to do because someone did it for me.
That's awesome, man. That's a really good thing to be doing, and sounds like an interesting way to like still keep it fresh too, as you've done a lot of seasons.
That's right.
Yeah. You would think you would enjoy doing the big teams like the United, but the joy was gone. Like the new kids.
It's such a different game as you work your way up. Like the rules are different, and the game changes, and it's kind of like the things that maybe brought you joy aren't the same anymore. And when you get back to those roots and you get back to working with those younger instructors and showing them the ropes, like that kind of brings it back too. It kind of reignites that spark.
And you don't. It's with the younger people. You see the movement. With the more experienced groups, they walk in the door. They the movement is there, but it's very small. Not like with young kids. Oh my goodness, they all threw it up and caught it. Yay.
Right.
And you leave the room and you're happy because they all caught it.
Yeah.
Totally different. Yeah.
I need to gush a little bit. Speaking of young groups, there is a group that the school has been a fall choreography client of mine for many years now, and they have won a lot of awards. And I don't necessarily want to name them yet, just in case this falls through for some reason, but I'm hoping it doesn't, because I just heard from their instructor and they want to start a winter guard for the first time this year. So we're kind of getting some things lined out with that. And like I said, I've been writing their choreography for a long time. And this is a group that's come to a lot of Spintronics camps. And so I've had a lot of touching with their program and sort of, it's a really huge step for them to be doing this. So I'm very, very excited about that. And I've literally been like she messaged me this morning and I've just been thinking about it all day because it's such a big step for them. And I'm very excited to kind of, help them get into that direction. And that is so important. Like, we seriously need a whole episode that's just about like how to make it in this activity, because I think there's no guide. People need to guide each other and help each other and like take the newbies under their wing, like you said. And seriously, I could go a whole episode about that. And
we probably should. We'll have to keep that one in the logs. Save it for
Somebody text Jeremy. Let's put that on the docket.
That's right. Special episode.
That would be a cool episode. Yeah.
I'm down for that one.
Gush and go, not gush and stay. Let's go.
We got outro music too. Let's go.
Yes.
No gushing and staying. We gotta get back to rehearsal.
Okay, everybody, let's go help the mummers get the feathers and sequins on the back pieces for New Year's Day. But stick around, because on the next water break, Trevor and Steven are going to have the assistant band director for the University of Alabama over here on the sideline. Then all of us will be back for the news and some more holiday band talk.
Okay.
Hey, this is Christine Ream.
And Chris Green.
Guard Closet was founded as a consignment business in 2000. Since then, it has grown to include winter guard, band, percussion, and other genres.
We can help you with custom flag and costuming designs.
Our consignment inventory has plenty of great looks for your color guard, drumline, and marching band.
Pay it forward. When you purchase consignment, you help other programs. Last year, we sold over 400 sets of consignments and returned over $125,000 in payments to our consigners for their sales.
Additionally, Guard Closet offers custom and pre-designed costumes, flags, floors, and formal wear, full or partial show writing, educational programming, and other services.
Max out your rehearsal time and set up a microsite for easy student ordering for shoes, gloves, and other equipment.
The Guard Closet team is here to help you get everything you want and need for your season. Check us out at guardcloset.com and follow us on social media.
All right, everyone. We are back here at rehearsal. I've got Trevor Bailey with me here. Trevor, how you doing, man?
I'm doing great. Living the dream. Nice to see you again, Steven.
Nice to see you. And we are joined by Kevin Welborn. Kevin, I believe you are the band director at the University of Alabama, correct?
Yeah, I'm one of them. I'm the associate director of bands here.
Associate director of bands. Great. So the way we like to kick off meeting new guests in this show is something we call our 32 count life story. So I'll give you 8 and in from the Met, and then you'll have about 8 bars. It's like 30 seconds just to catch our whole audience up to speed on everything that you think is important about you. So
Okay. All right.
let's get in it.
All right. I'm originally from Mississippi, Laurel, Mississippi, and went to University of Southern Mississippi. Got 2 degrees from there. Taught in Texas for a while. Started doing drum corps, march, drum corps, and percussionist.
Okay.
Taught troopers, cavaliers. Currently at Bluecoats, helping out academy as well this year. Went to the University of Alabama to be the 3rd/4th director a while back. Got a job at Avon High School as the director of bands, and then the associate director position came up back at Alabama, and here I am.
Wow, yeah, that's a lot to cram into 32 counts there. Needless to say.
You nailed it. Bravo.
That's cool. I was unaware of your drum corps background. Well, definitely, I'll want to circle back to that near the end. But something that I think is interesting out the gate is working with the University of Alabama going into this college football playoff season. I never got the opportunity to go that far with it. Penn State got to go to some good bowl games.
Sure. Yeah.
But what's it like for the band as you guys get ready for the playoffs?
It's a pretty exciting time right now. It's actually the way that you have to plan for these things is unique because this is finals week for us. So everybody's kind of on their way out to their respective states, possibly countries. And we're currently planning to go to Pasadena for not only the game, but obviously, as everyone knows, the parade. So trying to schedule a rehearsal before we leave in late December. And we've already done a lot of this, but kind of sending information out to the students and then receiving information back from them of who is where and who has a plan on meeting us there versus being here for the rehearsal.
Right.
And usually you have about a handful. I think right now we have 9 or 10 people that are going to meet us there. They'll miss our rehearsal here. So we'll get over to Pasadena. We will rehearse over there as well. Hopefully a little bit of fun. So maybe some Disneyland stuff like that. And then hopefully a lot of fun with the parade. And if no one's ever done that parade before, the parade is you wake up really early that morning, not as early as the Macy's parade, but pretty early. And then it's a 6-mile parade when all is said and done. And the ball game is that afternoon. So it's all crammed in the same day.
Yeah, that's a long day with a lot of work in it.
Yeah.
I feel like the only way I could do it is if I was about to go to the college football playoffs and I was that excited.
I think that's probably going to mask a lot of the maybe pains of a 6-mile parade, but the parade in and of itself is going to be great as well. So we're excited.
All right. So Kevin, like we've already talked about, preparations for the parade. How are the students responding to like being in the playoff and, they get to go on a plane and go to California and march in this historic, parade and take part in, just a really, historic, football game. How are the students responding to it? Can you kind of tell us what the reaction was to making it to the playoff as band members?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. We all learned at the exact same time, the same time that the team learned and the country learned. It was on that Sunday morning after morning for us is around 11 something after the SEC championship. And we use Slack to talk to all of the students. And I don't remember, I think I might have been the first one to post "Let's go" as soon as I found out, with just a million exclamation points. And it lit up immediately with reactions.
Yeah,
and
probably a million different emojis, right?
It was incredible. We didn't know what to think. I think we absolutely deserved to be in it. But we didn't know how that was all going to play out. So everybody's really, really excited. Obviously, kind of dovetailing into your dead week and into your finals week, they have a lot of other priorities at hand after that SEC championship. But just the sheer fact of knowing that we're going to go, they're excited. As you can imagine, from a band director perspective, a million questions started coming in before we even had answers ourselves. But that Monday morning, I mean, site visits to California already have started. Site visits to Houston should we win that game. which would be we would get back, and 4 days later we would roll out to Houston. So you're having to plan for both of those possibilities, and while keeping your mind is pretty much set on that Rose Bowl parade, knowing that it's nationally televised, and then being at the game at our best. I mean, we just want to make sure that we're at our best to support the team as best we can, and everybody's really excited. So,
as they say in $1 Million Band Land at the University of Alabama, that was definitely a Roll Tide situation. I would imagine.
A Roll Tide situation.
Roll Tide situation, absolutely. And we talked about how excited they were. What about like what they're going to be doing? Like what the performances they're going to be taking part in? What are y'all performing in the parade? Do you have tunes selected out? And then the second part to that question, can you tell us about like the halftime production that you get to perform during halftime?
Absolutely. Being that we've done a few parades this year, but a college band, you're not going to do a million parades every fall. You might do a homecoming parade, which is the only parade that we've done this year so far has been our own homecoming parade. Everything else has been ball game related or exhibition. We were able to go to Bands of America and do an exhibition performance there. So that show, minus a couple of tunes to shave a little time off for the time allotment that we have at the Rose Bowl, will be the same show that we use for halftime. And that show it's kind of just a radio show. It's Roll Tide radio. We have it's fun. The athletic department here is phenomenal, and they do all of our soundscaping for us through the stadium speakers. We don't use like the speakers that you would traditionally hear in pageantry. They'll throw all of our sounds that we put within the show, and we have people up there, and we have people on the bottom with walkies that are timing that to make sure it still works. But it's just, you're hearing radio frequencies and you're hearing the dial change, and all of a sudden it may be 45 seconds, it may be a minute of a tune. Everything from, you might have Billie Jean, you might have Post Malone, Something Real, you might have Friends in Low Places, and just different things like that. It's a lot of fun, but it's a show that was originally full of about 12 different tunes, and this one will be about 8 or 9. So, and then kind of like I was starting to talk about, backing up to the parade situation, we have a pretty standard way of doing, and Trevor, you'll remember from being here, we do our fight song, Yay Alabama. Mm-hmm. We interject cadences, and we play Tusk, which is another very traditional tune that we play here, alluding to the elephant and that sort of stuff. So both of those tunes will be back and forth. I think the TV time of the parade, we're probably just going to stick with our fight song. We felt like that would be the smartest thing to do, especially the games that day. You gotta make sure you're repping that fight song. So it's exciting, but I mean, we don't have a lot of time to practice, so we have to make sure that. Luckily, everything that I just mentioned, we played a ton and we repped a ton and practiced before the SEC championship, which was our last thing to do. So it'll be pretty easy to get back with some reps, I believe. So
it's good to hear you talk about performances and opportunities at the $1 Million Band, and the students who are really, the band students who are really great supporters of like the athletic department, right? Along with the cheer and dance team and the Crimsonettes, like they put in a lot of time of their own time to make sure that they're very spirited all the time, and it's great to hear that they have a fair amount of performance opportunity. We've seen these campaigns going around on social media about different bands kind of fighting for different times and not having a lot of time cut out of their pregame or halftime shows, or one band does pregame and one band does halftime. It's good to hear that the Rose Bowl is letting both bands perform a fair amount of their production. So that's cool to hear.
I agree. You're right. It's unfortunate that we're hearing a lot of that happening in some of these bowl games due to, different artists or whatever the reasons might be. But we haven't ran into that. The Rose Bowl wants both bands to play both pregame and halftime. We had the same situation at the SEC championship. Both us and Georgia were able to play both pregame and halftime. Actually did a combined national anthem with the Georgia band. So we've been extremely fortunate to get that kind of support, and I guess lucky that we didn't run into that with the bowl game that we were chosen to go to. So hats off to the CFP for those decisions for sure.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's nice. I think the Rose Bowl and probably also the SEC championship, they actually like respect the tradition of the whole event, not just like the marching band, but the football behind it and the colleges. I feel like a lot of different sort of other bowl games or maybe other entities lately have been getting away from the tradition of college football. But a program like Alabama has such a rich one.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. I mean, you still have a lot of the NFL environment at the stadium. You still have the, not necessarily the DJ, but you still have music being played over the sound system and whatnot. But we still get our time at our own games, and then the games that we've gone to, SEC championship, and what we're being told, which is the script that we've been given for the bowl game, has a ton of time for the bands built into play. So, yeah, I know it's starting to get different in different places, but again, I think we're fortunate, and hats off to those making those decisions, wanting the bands to be a part of that environment, which is incredible, right? I mean, it's the only place you can really get that. You're not going to get it at NFL games. You're going to get it in high school and college, and for somebody that's been to some pretty significant NFL games in my life, I don't know if the atmosphere and energy and environment can be really rivaled when it comes to some of these playoff games, and definitely the national championship. So,
man,
we're very fortunate.
The energy is, during my time in Alabama, all 3 years, I went to 3 national championships. We lost 2 and won 1. And just the energy, whether we won or lost, was always high level. You had to be on your A game, lots of focus. Yes, we had a lot of fun in those different places, but those are memories that I'm as a graduate assistant, I'm always going to kind of carry with me. I'm sure the students are living out their dreams, being a part of the $1 Million Band. So it's great to see that, the athletic program is still thriving, that the band program and band and color guard Crimsonettes are still thriving and are major supporters of athletics there at the university. So that's great to hear. We just talked about great leadership and decision making by the CFP by allowing, like bands like Alabama and Michigan, to do like their performances. So I'm use that as a transition of good leadership and decision making. You happen to work with an amazing leader and a great decision making. The director of bands there at the University of Alabama, Dr. Ken Ozello, was one of my mentors and one of your friends and colleagues. Can you talk to us about Dr. Ozello and his importance to the $1 Million Band and just to the profession, just as much as you want?
Absolutely. And I'm glad you asked, because I was going to make sure that I spoke about him anyway. I'll be really honest. Having a colleague like Dr. Ken Ozello is one of the most fortunate things that has happened to me in my career. Being able to walk across, 5 feet to his office and him over here, and us just collaborate and talk about any and everything from logistical planning to, conducting, to music selections when it comes to the wind ensemble here, the symphonic band. To me, he's a phenomenal leader. He's always, one of the things that I've learned from him is we all are a little different. We have our personalities, and I have my personality that is, my head's pretty much down all the time, and I'm just working. Like if I'm at work, I'm constantly working, and I might have some days that are good and bad, just like everybody, just like him. But you would never know what day is good or bad for him, because he's very even keel. And that's one thing that I've learned a lot from him. But to me, I would say the thing that I wish everybody understood about that gentleman is every bit of drill that you still see from the Alabama $1 Million Band. And people are constantly saying, like, wow, you guys are playing some tempos that are outrageous for a multi-show per season band. Mm-hmm. And you're doing 190 openers and the drill looks really cool. Dr. Ken Ozello writes every bit of that drill. And he was one of the beta testers of Pyware. And he writes all of that drill. We all come up with the designs of the shows. He has written an iconic pregame that I don't think anyone should ever touch for quite some time, if not ever, because of how iconic it is. So you have a gentleman that's doing that, and just a great leader, always at rehearsal. He might be leading the rehearsal, I might be leading the rehearsal, but it doesn't matter. It's just a shared type microphone environment of everybody that's there helping with the band. It just kind of passed the mic around almost, and everybody helping different reps. But that all could happen, and 30 minutes later, rehearsal ends, and he's going to get in a tux to conduct the nationally acclaimed Alabama Wind Ensemble. And you don't see that very much. And I think it is an incredible positive thing for him and for this university that the director of bands is that invested in every aspect of this band program. And it's taught me a lot. It has taught me a ton that, it's busy days because we're all thinking about everything, from the concert bands to the honor bands. We're hosting an honor band tomorrow, a middle school honor band for 2 days tomorrow. So we've been planning this middle school honor band. We've been planning this Rose Bowl. Both he and I have been planning our different programs for the spring with our respective bands. But still the time to, go to lunch every now and then and just talk about whatever and catch up on life and those sorts of things. So I've learned a tremendous amount from that man, and I hope to continue to learn more for as long as we can. But it's pretty incredible, and it's pretty unique, I think, when you start looking at other bands of this size and institutions of this size. It's a very unique situation, and we're incredibly fortunate.
Yeah, that resume is ridiculous. And I mean, that's hardly even a resume. That's his current things that he's involved in.
Exactly. Absolutely.
How long has he been with the program? He's
been here since 1989.
Okay. Yeah, I had figured when you said that he wrote the pregame that he must have been involved for quite some time now.
Yeah. He's been here. He was here in 89, and I don't want to misspeak, but I think he became the marching band director and or the director of bands in maybe 2003, something like that. But it's pretty incredible.
Yeah, that's absolutely incredible. Hats off to him. So it's obviously a long season for a school like Alabama. You guys always have deep playoff ambitions. How do you keep students engaged for the entire length of that semester, and then the period even beyond the semester where you're still in band?
Yeah, I think, time and the constant of that being a thing, and hats off to Coach Saban for making that a thing and making that an expected kind of end of our season. And I say expected. I don't think he would like me to say that, but we still appreciate it, and we're fortunate. But having that expectation that we might go as far as we seem to regularly do, I think it just helps knowing that that's what happens here. People just have that in their heads. However, I would say from a specific band standpoint, trying our best to program shows, to me, I want the hardest thing for us when it comes to programming a show to be the double-sided of, we've got to make this to where it's a football-friendly show, football crowd-friendly show. But just like you said, we want to keep these people engaged. So every show that we do 3 or 4 shows a year, can we do some tempos? Like I said, can we have an opener that's at 190? Can we have a ballad that might be at 90 to 100, but we put a ton of body inside of that, to where, if you're in pageantry, you're constantly thinking about the multiple disciplinary, juxtaposition of music versus visual and the vocab and that sort of stuff. And that's exactly what we're trying to give these members. We want them to have something that, I always say, if if it works perfectly in the first rehearsal, it was way too easy. You know, it was way too easy, but trying to make sure that we challenge them enough, but also hit the other side of that coin when it comes to the football crowd really, really enjoying it and loving it. And so far, I think we've done a really good job with that. But I think that helps a lot. It's just trying to make sure that they're challenged, trying to rehearse the exact same way all of the time and us be as consistent as possible. It's interesting when people come here from friends from drum corps or BOA and they'll come to a game. I don't know of a soul that can't come here and said something to us like, wow, like I would have never guessed that rehearsals were that locked down. And it's not that we're mean or anything like that, but that rehearsal was as efficient as any I've been to. And it's really cool to hear that, because I think there's such a difference in collegiate bands when it comes to how that rehearsal atmosphere, either progresses throughout the season. It might be just in general, but it's really fun. It's fun to constantly, we're currently thinking about next year right now and thinking about, okay, well, what else could we do both musically and visually, and getting that audience interaction almost and participation inside of the show is I think that those design elements kind of help the students, maintain their drive throughout the season. I also think you would be silly not to maintain your drive when you're on the campus of the University of Alabama and the football team's right over there practicing every day. Like, come on.
Right. There's a standard that's being maintained.
We see the press conferences. We see how locked in they are. I think it would be silly not to at least take some of that and apply it to your own self on maybe some of those bad days that you're having or whatever. So it's an interesting time. It's a unique time around here, and it has been for quite some time now. And again, I think we're incredibly fortunate, and we need to learn from it so that, everything comes and goes in waves, but you can learn from something and be as consistent as possible with what you learn from. So hopefully that's the case.
I love that answer. What kept me engaged there was the barbecue. That was some good barbecue there. Yeah,
I didn't want to mention all that yet, but we can go down. That's another podcast in and of itself. Right
in this part of the show, when I say something funny, like Jeremy or somebody else will insert like the thing that we were talking about in the picture, like for the promo, like, so I don't be surprised if I'm like eating like a rib or something, or pop something to the screen. So Jeremy, if you hear me, that's where you insert the graphic piece of barbecue. Oh man. So, we've had an opportunity to talk to you about, how the $1 Million Band is a hot ticket. In the last couple of years, the band has participated in Macy's. You've done BOA. You're in these bowl games and playoffs. You're watching the Rose Parade and going to the Rose Bowl. You have a chance to compete for another national championship. We talked about the show design. We talked about the great leadership of Dr. Ozello. We talked about you and your background. Maybe we can get to know you a little bit more. We talked about, I think we wanted to circle back about like your drum corps experience, and like DCI is a big thing and students love to be involved with it. Like, can you talk to us a little bit more about like your involvement with the drum corps, I guess? I'll let you and Steven kind of go back and forth.
I grew up as a percussionist, and it's funny. I think 20 years ago, if you would have asked me, I was that person. If you would have asked me, like, do you want to be a band director? Absolutely not. I want to teach percussion.
Yeah.
And now my answer would be totally, I would not want to take a percussion director position whatsoever now. And it's just, I have some of my best friends are percussion directors, and we've talked about that. And I said, I don't know what happened and why that changed, but I think it's a good lesson for me to think like, okay, well then when you're 60, you might be thinking totally differently than you are right now, because it's already happened in my life. But I still love, and I have that passion for percussion. People always, I'm a band director, and you can find me studying scores in this office constantly, but people will still see me playing with my fingers and doing different things and out. But So the passion for that really started taking deep roots. I marched 99 Crown. I was a snare drummer there, and that was Paul Rennick and Sandy were there, and Jeff Queen was the snare tech. That was my first year. I was 19. And I was at Southern Miss. And at that time, the Southern Miss drum line, I think we had 12 to 15 people that were in top 12 drum corps at that point. Oddly, it's one of I say oddly, Dr. John Wooten at Southern Miss really helped push that culture. So I did that, auditioned for the 2001, which is my age out year. So kind of fast forward now, 2001 auditioned for Vanguard. And that's where I aged out in 01. I was a rook out at Vanguard as a snare drummer. Was with Jim Casella was writing, Jeff Huffman, snare tech, David Reeves, battery tech, and around those guys. And, thinking about the people that I marched with and how influential they are today, the people that I just mentioned, but Carl Lepler, Dustin Schletzer, Jim Ragsdale, Brian Perez. It goes on and on. There's just so many people in the horn line as well, and in the color guard and on that design team. Oddly enough, one of my best friends and mentors to this day is Dean Westman, who I have now worked with before, and we still text almost weekly, if not more. But he was the brass arranger that year. So David Reeves, I've worked with him. So a great friend of mine now. But so I aged out in 01, finished school in Mississippi, ended up moving out to Texas to teach for a while out of undergrad, and then going back to Southern Miss for my conducting master's in both music ed and conducting. But my assistantship was to teach the drumline there. But I was asked to help out at Troopers. That was the summer of 07. And if you back up from that, the summer in 04 and 05, I helped out with a little group that's now, they're coming back. But I say a little group, some pretty amazing people were in that group as well. But I helped out with Memphis Sound in the summer of 04 and 05. I was 24 and 25. So I was just kind of running around with the battery and maybe doing a little ensemble here and there. Funny story about that. I'm sure he might or might not ever hear this, but there used to be a kid in the hallway constantly playing on a drum pad. And to the point where some people would even kind of be making fun of it, like, will he ever stop? And that was 04 Memphis Sound, and that turned out to be Drew Guy, who was a phenomenal snare drummer that in the activity. Wow. But so 07, 08 on the Troopers percussion staff, started doing a little ensemble work and going up a little bit in 08. 09 became the percussion caption head. That was the first time. That summer was the first time that corps had been back in finals in like 23, something like that years.
Something happened, and just to kind of go back, something special happened in 2007 with the Troopers. Can you remember what happened?
Yeah, so the Troopers in 2006, the Troopers took the season off.
Yeah.
In 2007, there was a resurgence with the Troopers, and it was interestingly enough, you had Dean Westman, Ralph Hardiman. Those people were around, kind of heading up that drum corps, and that's the team I had. And Trevor, I don't know if that's exactly what you were hinting at.
Yeah, absolutely. I wasn't talking about us becoming best friends. I was talking about the resurgence of the drum corps.
Also, when I met Trevor Bailey,
He actually saved my life that year too.
Yeah, we're talking about a podcast in and of itself, right there. Anyway, so
bonus coverage.
Became caption head, and I was percussion caption head, and just helping run the ensemble 9, 10, 11, and 12. And then went to Clinton High School. In 2009, I was a percussion director at Clinton High School in Clinton, Mississippi. They had never done really indoor anything. So we started indoor percussion, ended up in 2013. That group got second in A class in Dayton. In 2014, they won open class in Dayton. And then 2015, they were world-class finalists. So it was fun watching that progression of the three different classes on those finalist nights and having those accolades. And right after that, a friend of mine, Joe Hobbs, asked if I wanted to help out with the Cavaliers in 16. So between 16 and 18, helped out at Cavaliers. Just kind of tag teaming with Joe on and off the road. He was a percussion caption head at the time. So that was a ton of fun, and learned even more then, because I was around some people that I hadn't really taught with or befriended. I might have known them, but learned a ton from that staff. And then as of last year and this year, on the kind of ensemble team with Bluecoats, Ryan Kilgore heads that up. And so a small team of us that help run the ensemble, and then about to do some stuff and jumping on board with Academy, being an ensemble. They're kind of starting that same idea, a little group of people that are helping just run the ensemble and have that in mind for the summer, but consulting with that as well. So, it's something that, the older I get, the more I love being on a podium, and I love studying scores, and I love doing that. But I hope that I never get tired of wanting to be around the pageantry that is drum corps, and what I learned from that. Just holistically learn from other people, and hopefully give back to those students the same excitement and energy that I got when I was their age. So I hope that's something that stays with me for a while.
Man, I love that. Like you climbed the ladder as a performer, as a instructor, as a consultant, ensemble specialist, and then you make sure that other students have the opportunity behind you. That's what it's all about. And those groups were lucky to have you, and the Bluecoats are lucky to have someone in the Academy, are lucky to have someone of your talents. And man, it's great to have you in the activity. I love what the Bluecoats are doing, and I think more drum corps need like the ensemble specialist people like in the room, talking about what works and what doesn't work, and what the members need to be focusing on in regards to the musical book. And I'm just glad that that's a thing now, and I'm glad that you're involved with it. So
yeah, it's fun.
Yeah. Well, it's been great to meet you, man. You're very interesting. You do a lot of great things at a very high level, which is very admirable. So hats off to you, man. Good luck as you guys progress into the college football playoff season here. Roll Tide, baby. I've never said that in my life, but I'll say it for you today. You got it out of a Pennsylvania boy.
We've converted another one. We're good.
There you go.
I'll be cheering for you.
Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it. This is a lot of fun. And good luck to you all with this podcast. I know that it takes a lot of energy to get this up and running, number one, and then the sustainability aspect of it as well. But I've already listened to a few and some great interviews. So great job to you all, and good luck in the future as well.
Thank you very much. All right, well, hop back out on the rehearsal field there. Trevor is about to start blocks, so you better get out there. We'll talk to you in a bit.
Hey everyone, I'm Lexi Duda, and I'm the host of On a Water Break in Rhinestones. I've grown up a competitive baton twirler, winning numerous world titles, and now I'm a coach. I want to bring to you stories from twirlers from all over. So grab a water break, listen in, because you won't want to miss some of these incredible experiences these twirlers have had. All of this coming up and more on a Water Break in Rhinestones.
All right. Well, that was just a great interview. It was super awesome getting to talk to him and just hear all those like different. I feel like the standard of execution at Alabama is just so high for the football team, for the marching band, for everyone. So it's just super cool getting to hear everything that they're up to over there. Did anyone else have to do marching band outside in December or sometimes January?
COVID year. in Texas State Marching Band Championship was this very day in 2020.
Oh my God.
But the weird thing is that we started the same time. We started August 1. It was the season that would never end. But we went all the way through December. It was fun because it was Texas, not like it's going to snow, but it was still miserable. You know, you're putting up your Christmas tree and practicing.
It still kind of gets cold at night down there, right?
Yeah, for sure. It does. It was
they usually rehearse at night for high school marching bands. So
it was really long. But our football state championships here, I don't think has happened yet, or maybe it's this coming weekend. And so the marching bands, they're still going. It's still happening.
I couldn't have done that when I was in high school. I did that in college, and it was frigid up there. I mean, I didn't even have the benefit of being in Texas. I was in central Pennsylvania.
That's right. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
That's right.
It's not nice up there.
Yeah, it's not great in Delaware either.
It's not going to be much better in Delaware than central PA.
Yeah, especially when you're trying to wear, twirling costumes aren't the most conservative.
Sure, yeah.
I'd rather be. I never even thought about that. Oh my gosh, that's awful.
I'd rather be me in Central PA. I take it back. you can keep that in Delaware.
And uniform is so warm that the nice old school, they're wool, Not
it is good for that.
We did the Thanksgiving Day parade when I was in college, and we had on 15 layers, and we didn't twirl in the parade at all because it was probably 11 degrees.
Ooh.
And then when it was TV time, we ripped all of the layers off and twirled for 2 minutes, and then we put everything back on.
Were you under adrenaline? Did you, or was it immediately you were okay, it's cold, I want to be back?
I think I probably had adrenaline going, so I was in survival mode for about 2 minutes and 30 seconds, and then as soon as it was over, I was like, oh my gosh, I need these layers back on my body.
It's like an ice bath, like you did a twirling shock treatment or something.
It's brutal when you see marching bands and you watch the color guards because their uniforms are never December appropriate.
No, they're not.
And I think to myself, I wonder if he or she is cold.
That's right.
It's cute in August, but is it still cute and warm in December? Probably.
And I was going to say, velvet will make you sweat in August, September, October, but for some reason that does not hold up through November, December. Velvet's warmer than the alternative, which is lycra, but man, those costumes, they get cold.
What a good for nothing fabric.
One arm, even with one arm.
There you go. Yeah.
Right.
One arm.
Nude, undo the turn under, and it'll be fine.
Well, just make one arm bare. Sure, why not? It's going to be so cute.
So we all know that my favorite parade is the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. But the other thing on the top of my, you couldn't tell, sorry. Big secret here. But also on top of my list is local holiday parades. We have several here that we've participated in over the years. And I just love it. I love parades so much. And it's awesome to get to see them and be part of the community and come out and be part of the parade. I know, was it last year or the year before, we did this, there's this huge one, this tiny little town north of here called Eminence, Missouri. And it's really small. I don't think there's 1,000 people in the town. Even there's 500 people or something. So small. And they have a huge tourist draw in the summer, fall, winter. It doesn't matter. They don't really have an off season. They draw for different things. And it's just beautiful country out there. But they have this huge parade. I kid you not, there was probably 20,000 people. You're
Whoa.
talking about people don't go to parades. Well, this is one small town parade.
Wow.
They go to. It was packed. Those streets were absolutely packed with people. And, and the town is all decked out. It looks like a Hallmark movie. It's just like the town's all decked out with lights, and there's this huge parade going through town, and there's these people, and you just can't fit all the people because it's such a small town.
Yeah.
And you go through the square, and you like go downtown, and then you like cross the river on the bridge and stuff. And anyways,
it sounds like a Hallmark movie.
That is heavenly.
I
would love that.
Did you find love? Did you change careers? Like,
I mean, that was like my last time, teaching high school color guard, I guess, was doing parades for them.
See, Hallmark.
Wow. I love that.
Before I became a mom. So, that was kind of a career change.
Okay, now it's getting very Hallmark, actually, Jackie.
My wife watches a lot of those Hallmark Christmas movies.
Mm-hmm.
Why is it that there's always the cute guy who just moved in town?
Oh, yeah.
Every woman in town is after this new guy.
Except the one woman who was really focused on her career, but she went home to visit her family.
It's on my television right now. So if I look over the screen, that's what I'm looking at. And I'm watching. And he is lovingly looking into her eyes, a big city doctor that's come home. But so I'm all about it.
That was actually filmed in Missouri, not far from me, that I just found out the other day. So if you ever look up, I think it's called A Holiday Vintage. It's one supposedly about them connecting over wines. That was filmed in Herman, Missouri, and that's not far from where I live. And it's seriously like, I love these little small towns, and I love, like I said, I love parades and like all the like the Christmas tree lighting ceremonies and stuff, and like getting to be a band in that parade when I was in high school, and then like continuing on through was like a huge dream come true of like young Jackie.
Yes, I loved the holiday parades when I was growing up. I grew up in a really small town in Kentucky, Beaver Dam, Kentucky. And the Christmas parade was one of those things that everybody came out to. And you had we won high school in our entire county, and the band was the deal in the parade. Yep. But you also had every Girl Scout troop, every, the homemakers and the ladies clubs and the county fair winners on the back of convertibles. Like, it was a community event to come out to the parade. You didn't miss it. And there was a big chili cook-off that happened afterwards. So you did the whole parade, and like a homemaker's bazaar, like people crocheted stuff and sold it. It really kind of was a Hallmark movie now that I look back on that. I didn't think about it at that time, but pretty much, I mean, that's kind of as Hallmark movie as we got there.
Were there good-looking guys there? I mean, it can't be a Hallmark unless there's a good-looking man.
It was Ashlee
Anybody who went to high school with Stephanie is just like, click, done listening to this podcast.
I do have one quick confessional. This is not about a parade, but we can hold it on the Hallmark movies here. This is my confessional. I have an app that lists every single Hallmark movie that has ever been made, and as I walk them, I check them off so that one day I can say that I have watched them all. And I'm nowhere near. I'm like 5%. I've been doing this app for probably 6 years. But
so you've got some binging to do.
Yes. So the next time I'm watching and there's a parade, I'm texting all of you all. So be ready. If there's a parade in this movie.
We just need to watch all the movies that have like the holiday parades in them and make that a list. If you guys have ever seen the movie Tower Heist, it's a Ben Stiller movie. And the Macy's Great American Marching Band, I think Ron talked about it in last week's episode too, but the Macy's Great American Marching Band is in that episode, in that movie. The Thanksgiving Day Parade is in that movie. There's like a big scene that happens, and they like drive through the band and stuff, and they had to like put stunt doubles in, of course, for that. But
oh my gosh, that's really
Cool.
awesome.
I like Ben. Ben's my guy. It makes me laugh. That's his job. Man.
He's awesome.
You need like a marching band version of a Hallmark movie. Someone needs to make it happen.
Ooh, what would the tropes be? I think
it would have to be a color guard person and a drummer. Like,
it has to be.
No, they would have to be like together, and they would have to be the ones that were like breaking up. and then
Right.
The drummer or the trumpet player. Which
The-
one?
That's what I was thinking. I was
There you
like, is
go.
the drummer or the trumpet player the good guy or the bad guy? One of them is too invested in their section and doesn't care about their color guard girlfriend. But the other
There
guy's
you go.
there and he's ready to care.
What if? Okay,
I
what
love
if
it.
we really threw a wrench in it and it was like the football captain showed up and he was the good guy?
Whoa. That would be a spicy issue in the band world.
It sure
It
would.
I
really-
feel like
Right?
I don't know
Really
if it
would.
would go over too well.
Wow.
And it all happens. It all goes down at the holiday parade. Like that's.
I think that we could get funding. I think I'll bring it up with our producer.
Is Candace Cameron the one who does all the? She does a bunch of Hallmark
I think
movies.
she got ousted. Now is it
Oh, no.
Danica Geller? I think it's there was. Yeah, I think it's Danica Geller now. And I
Okay,
think-
get her. Let's
I
go.
think that's it.
Come on,
Yeah.
Let's get our
Danica.
Hallmark contacts. Let's go.
I mean, surely, like 6 degrees of separation, right? Everybody knows Kevin Bacon somehow. Okay, it is time for the news.
Oh yeah, okay. Yeah, that's exactly what I was hoping it would sound like.
Well, that was our fake news intro, Stephen.
It's gonna only get better from here.
Stephanie, you get to start us off today. What you got?
All right. Well, I have West Boca High School. Their band and choir are going to perform at the Vatican. They're going to Rome.
What?
So they have about 150 people that are traveling there. And this is a New Year's Day parade. So I think it's really cool that these fine arts people are going together, that you have not only the band, but also the choir and their chaperones. So maybe bringing that to Europe. I know we talk about, international flair a lot. So I'm excited to see when they come back. And it was funny, this news article that I was reading about was saying that the choir, they interviewed a choir kid who was more, when they asked her, like, really, what are you excited about? It was all based around food.
That's
Which, if I was going to
valid.
Rome, is also what I would be the most excited about.
Yeah.
Would also be the food.
I went to Italy in 2015 at the baton twirling world championships. The food was by far the best part. I can't tell you how many times I ate gelato a day. We were there for like 2 weeks. I probably consumed like 15 pounds of it.
Oh my goodness.
Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that at all.
Well, that's pretty cool. I never got an opportunity like that. They're lucky students. That sounds like a trip of a lifetime. We'll have to tell Beth about that next time Beth's on the line.
Oh, Beth's going to love that. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Woody has got a follow-up story that we've been kind of looking at for multiple episodes now.
The follow-up story. I have to tell you, I am very interested in the follow-up story only because I didn't hear anything about it. But what they're saying is Mr. Mims has been suspended for 15 days without pay. That will start, that started the 8th of December for those 5 days, the 11th of December for those 4 days of the week, and then when he comes back in January for another 5 days. That's
Is he the
we
band
are.
director?
Yeah, I want to know about this because I heard he was tasered. I was shocked. I'm like, ooh,
No,
tell me
he was
more.
shocked.
Yes, he was shocked.
That makes two of you.
Tell me more. Tell me more. I know it sounds stupid, but I do stand-up comedy also, and and one of the things I love to watch is when they used to show people get tasered on the news, and I would work it into my comedy bit, and then you guys just come here and tell me about someone being a band director being tasered, one of our own being tasered.
There were videos of it floating around on the internet for weeks too. That was
Yeah.
crazy.
Do you remember why he got tased, Jackie?
Yeah, he was. So his band was playing. They were having like a band, like they were going back and forth. What do you call that? A band battle, basically, after
Battle of the Bands.
Yeah.
and the other band had like finished and wrapped up and like were leaving, and the police were trying to clear the stadium, and they told him to stop.
It's coming back.
And he was like, "No, we got to finish our song." And yeah, we've kind of gone back and forth on our podcast just as we get more information. Like we've gone back and forth about like what was it? Should he have been tased? Should he have stopped and listened to law enforcement? Like, they tased him in front of his kids. So basically, you're saying he is returning to work now, though, right?
They make a martyr out of him. Those kids are never going to stop playing.
Right. Oh my gosh, that's crazy.
I think that sounds a little excessive. I'm missing some of the details as time goes on, but I feel like they didn't need to tase him. He probably should have stopped playing, but that's a little over the top.
I'm probably going to say that the battle probably had everyone in a frenzy.
So, yeah, he was inciting public disturbance.
Right.
Maybe he didn't need to get tased. Apparently the district agreed. They suspended him for a while, so.
Yeah, that was kind of interesting how the ruling all came out on it.
Play not, tase not.
Speaking of updates, Ashlee, you got an update for us too this week, yeah?
Yes. I have a story that we've been following since it pretty much was announced last April. The Metallica competition for marching bands. They were trying to see like which band had the best Metallica show, and they've narrowed it down from 450 colleges and high schools down to 5 per division. So in the collegiate division, they have like Auburn, Fresno State, Iowa State, University of Iowa, University of Texas at Austin. Division 2 and 3 colleges, Blinn College, Eastern New Mexico, Manchester, West Texas A&M, Western Illinois. And there's 5 different small high schools, medium high schools, and large high schools. One of the small ones is actually a guard closet client, so that's pretty exciting.
Which one?
It is Oakton High School from Vienna, Virginia.
Ooh, okay.
You know, this would now answer the riddle that I've had all fall. Why is so many bands playing Metallica? I didn't know about the contest.
Yeah, there's a contest.
Now you know.
Why is this happening?
Well, what's the prize?
Thank you.
The prize for Division 1 college is $75,000.
Okay.
Division 2 and 3 is $40,000, and all the high schools are $15,000 each.
Okay, so they're getting money
there's
for
some
their
pretty
program.
high stakes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
1,000 is enough, right?
Right.
Yeah, really.
I could pay me that much to do band.
So it's already enticing to do anyways.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, for sure. Wow, that's great.
So I want to know how much money these bands are competing for who keep doing the pirate themed shows.
$0, Jackie.
This is the
$0.
Seriously, it was a joke for a minute that I was like, oh, I've noticed a lot of bands doing pirate shows, and this was literally probably the season I got hired on at Guard Closet. I was like, oh, it's kind of funny. There's a lot of bands doing pirate shows, and then every year there's a lot of bands
Probably
doing
like
pirate shows.
One of the years that Pirates of the Caribbean came out or something.
But it hasn't stopped.
Yeah, you haven't heard about the annual competition?
The annual pirate fest?
the biennial Marching Pirates Summit.
There's been 10 Pirates of the Caribbean movies, and they've come out every year. You haven't seen them?
Wow. Steven, what do you got for us?
This is a quick one. This one's a shout out. I know Lady Gaga, you listen. She's a big fan of On a Water Break. Apparently, And Tennessee High School Marching Band, they want Lady Gaga to notice them this Christmas year. They are asking us to share it on social media. Everybody needs to tag at Lady Gaga because the Cascade High School Marching Band's field show this year featured all Lady Gaga music, all in some Lady Gaga style outfits, like some deep hot pinks, some other types of like pop star looking outfits.
Were they dressed in meat? Because that's the only way that I know Lady Gaga.
I think for the ballad, there was a uniform change. And
put their meat costumes on over it.
That's when they put the meat on. They're the Cascade Marching Band. The article shares a Facebook post, so it just says Cascade Marching Band. But it's from Bell Buckle, Tennessee, I suppose. They say they had a blast. It went pretty well for them. They came in second place as Division II bands in the state of Tennessee. So yeah, Lady Gaga, you should shout them out and probably go to their rehearsal. They'd probably like that. So,
oh man, could you even imagine?
Maybe she'd do that for us because
I found the post
nicely.
Okay, we'll have to share it, and I'll tag some of my friends and see.
Maybe she'll get a gush and go with them.
Yeah, we should get a gush and go from Lady Gaga.
A quick one. That's right.
The things you talk about are on the water break, you know.
Exactly.
Stephanie.
Yeah. So
this one was new to me. And as I started researching, I figured out why. So our HBCU bands, so much fun to watch, so entertaining. They have a national championship that's taking place. And I kept thinking, I didn't know this was a thing, but this is because it's the very first one. So all of our bowl games, all of that has been decided. The bowl game that is in Atlanta in the Mercedes-Benz Stadium is the Cricket Celebration Bowl. I think that's like Cricket the phone, not Cricket the animal.
Cricket the bugs.
It's not sponsored by the bugs.
It's not Jiminy, not that. It's the phone. So anyway, they're having an HBCU national championship the night before the bowl game, which I think is really cool.
That's cool, yeah.
I just think that's so cool. I guess I've never really thought that they didn't have that. But so they're wanting to establish a competitive platform for these HBCU marching bands, and they want to crown a season champion of not only just Division I, but also their Division II bands. So really cool combination of sports and music, and ESPN picked it up and is going to put rankings on their site in seasons to come, so you can not only follow along with your favorite, this kind of goes along with what we're talking about tonight with college football, but you can't, you find your favorite HBCU team, and then you find how's their band ranked, football in one column and band in the other. So I think that's really a really cool thing that's gonna happen. So I'm definitely gonna tune in. I want to see who wins.
Yeah, that's really cool. I feel like it like kind of popped up over nowhere the last year. I feel like they exploded in popularity.
Yeah. That's right.
The whole show band type of world is really blowing up. So
that's right. So good for them. Cool. Good luck.
Mm-hmm. If you live in the Metro Philadelphia area, that's not a thing.
No, yeah.
That's right.
You can do DCA.
Yeah, that's right. DCA, and you have the mummers.
The mummers.
No, we have the mummers.
That's right.
It's a trade-off. It's a trade-off.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It is a trade-off.
Right. It is.
All right, everybody. Thank you so much for a great rehearsal this week. Thank you to our hosts, Stephen, Ashlee, and Stephanie. Welcome, Woody, to our hosting team. I am so glad you're here.
Yeah, welcome.
There you go. Summoned it.
Well, see you soon. Go subscribe, write us a review, share this episode with a friend, share our show with a friend. Make sure to follow us on all of our social media at On a Water Break. And we'll see you at the next rehearsal on a water break.
Go practice.
The On a Water Break podcast was produced by Jeremy Williams and Christine Ream. The intro and outro music was produced by Josh Lyda. To learn more, visit lydamusic.com. And until next time, thanks for tuning in.